Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Tuesday. Your host, of course, Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, A5, Anthony behind the glass here at Chop Studios. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Hope everybody actually weathered the storm known as Monday Night Football. That was an abomination.
It reminded me of a Thursday night football game.
It really did. It's funny because when the schedule makers make the schedule, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they do. That's what they're paid to do. They put out there like this could be not even Carson Wentz because he was gone already, but Matt Ryan versus, Mitch, or Matt Ryan versus Kenny Pickett or whatever.
I don't think they could have possibly been thinking.
I think this is like a default.
Mitch.
You have to throw somebody in. Everybody's got to get a Monday Night Football game. So like this is theirs.
Well, not everybody.
I think everybody.
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Are you positive?
Yes.
I don't know about
There's
that.
been teams, Dave, there's been teams
Everybody
that
needs a
haven't-
Thursday night game. Everybody gets a Thursday night game.
Quite possibly.
No, that's a fact.
But Monday night, no, I think you got to earn those.
I don't know. I think you're contractually.
There's been teams that have not played. I remember seeing like a
that was
Lions
back
game.
in the day. But I think now everybody is contracted to play at least one Monday night
probably
game.
had this conversation.
I'm just saying.
a little bit
Anyway, I
before
hope
the
everybody's
show.
doing well out there.
Monday
There
night
was
football is a privilege, Dave.
All right. Well, it was not a privilege to watch that game last night as the Steelers take down the Colts 24-17. Mike Tomlin, he's pushing for that non-losing season, bro. I'm telling you, he's never had a losing season in his coaching tenure with the Steelers. So, like, I know that's in the back of his mind. And if they're not gonna compete for a division this year because of the Bengals and the Ravens and teams that are better than them, at least try to get to 9-8. You know what I mean? And right now they're 6-7, so it's a possibility. Or 5-7, probably 5-7. But
I don't know that that's really attainable at this point. And I can't imagine that's what the goal is in the locker room. Be like, oh, we got to get coached this one non-losing season.
What I'm saying is they're not packing
practice
it in.
by practice, like Davis Mills does, stacking good practice on top of each
Davis
other.
Mills, who also got benched.
The Steelers, I wouldn't say that their season's all lost. They have a rookie quarterback, so getting him through this first season and seeing a couple of bright spots, that's all they're really looking for. As far as the scheduling goes, did we expect the Colts to be bad?
No, because when you get Matt Ryan, you expect and Jonathan Taylor and the best offensive line in football, all these touts that you read.
When it comes to Pittsburgh, I'm not sure that anybody really expected them to be great, but that's been Pittsburgh a few different seasons over the last decade or so where they weren't really touted to be the team going in, but they end up there at the end of the year. Not the case this year.
All right. Well, in any event, Colts fall, and now they have a date with destiny over in Dallas, which is not flexed out of a Sunday night spot. I guess you really can't flex out Dallas because they're going to draw ratings, but the opponent, it's Cowboys-Colts game next Sunday night. It's not going to be if you're a Colts fan, you might want to look away. No, I'm kidding, because every time I get confident, we can slip up and lose to the Colts.
Careful.
Last time I played the Colts, I think we got blanked. Actually, 0 points. But anyway, some top movers from last night. The NFL produced some decent action on the Mojo Market. Starting with Jelani Woods. Now, Jelani Woods has been somebody that not too many people have paid attention to, the Colts tight end room, because when you think of tight ends, you think of Mo Alley Cox, and before that, I don't know about you, nostalgia reasons, I just still think Dallas Clark is the tight end in Indy. He hasn't been the tight end in 15 years, but you always think that Dallas Clark is the guy.
Who was the other tight end for the Colts? There had to have been another one that was in that.
Dallas Clark.
Just Dallas Clark.
Just
with
Dallas
Peyton
Clark.
Manning? There wasn't another one? I feel like there was. I feel like it's one of those. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, go ahead, find it as I go through the stats here. 8 catches, 98 yards for Jelani Woods. Again, he's the second tight end. So, again, we spoke about Matt Ryan-led offenses. We talked about the second receiver doing well. How about the second tight end? So, he did himself a little justice last night. He's up 6%. So, definitely, I mean, would you say that this is somebody to play going forward? I don't think so. I'm looking at the Colts offense as a whole, and it just, for the first quarter, I'm pretty sure
it was Jacob Tamme was the guy that I was trying to think of. Not a good, but yeah.
There's no way I would have thought about him in a million years. I could have rolled off 400 names, and Jacob Tamme wouldn't be the guy. Not
400?
400 names.
I'm going to find his stats now.
Jacob Tamme stats? There's no stats to be found. And there was no stats to be found for Matt Ryan in the first quarter, by the way. 0 yards. 0.
Is that real?
Yeah, no,
Wow.
nothing. The Colts were reeling in the beginning. The Steelers broke off to an early lead, a couple field goals here and there. And then, I think they went up 13-0. And I thought for sure, I bet the Steelers money line. Thank you.
Bro, he had 14 career touchdowns.
Jacob Tamme did. All right, good job. He's right up there with Jeff Swain.
Not great.
Anyway, so Jelani Woods, not somebody I would entertain. I don't know about you, as far as his stock. I mean, he did show some flashes of good last night.
I think if we're looking at the future of the tight end position for the Colts, there's a possibility. I think Mo Alley-Cox did get a contract last year, but it's not a big one, and it's not like something
they're not like committed to the tight end.
Exactly, they're definitely they drafted a tight end with the hopes that he would probably become the starter. So yeah, I think Jelani Woods could very much like a Delaney Walker type, where he could kind of come in and after a couple years. But you know, I've talked about the tight ends. It takes a couple years for these guys to get going. So I would pause on a Jelani Woods at the.
How about NFL young boy last night? George Pickens is our second top mover last night. Now look, not the astronomical numbers that you would want, but when he makes catches, guys, like this kid is really developing into something special. And last night, 3 catches, 57 yards. He's the second highest targeted receiver on the team last night behind Deontay Johnson. But like, he doesn't move much last night, but I'm talking about future value for this guy, because you got a guy like Kenny Pickett who has already developed this nice little rapport. You can already see like the promotionals, like Pickett to Pickens, you know what I mean? Like it's all these guys will be linked together for at least the first 5 years of their career. Pickens, we've talked about early going, like a bunch of our rookie reports. Pickens is somebody you're definitely stepping up on.
Yeah, Pickens is a friend of the show. We're bringing him up because, he's my boy, right? How could you not be in on Pickens? And to be honest, there's a ton of rookie receivers, and a lot of them have been lighting it up this year. He's not exactly lighting it up, but he's not exactly playing for an offense that lights it up. So for him to be able to play as well as he's played with a rookie quarterback, and then the other portion of the season was with Trubisky, and he really didn't do much in the first couple weeks. So it's been a little bit more. They believe in him enough to get rid of Claypool, and I say trade Claypool. I don't know how.
They got a second for him, so
they did get a second for him.
So
exactly.
it's like, we'll do that.
A nice move on their part, but yeah, George Pickens, he might get suspended a couple times throughout his career, but you're going to take that. Take the good with the bad here.
That's just assuming the worst for the kid. But he does have that mentality where he wants to get every catch he's getting up and doing something to somebody's face.
I could promise you that there's going to be a ton of fans that you could be watching football with your father or your uncle, and he's going to be like, I don't like the way that guy plays. I love the way that guy plays. So, give me that guy on my team 25 times over.
You're in on George Pick. I almost could see right away a Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan situation with him, where all of a sudden they just drop the gloves and they just start smacking each other.
I don't know about that. You want to know why I don't know about that? Because I don't know if there's any person on earth that is willing to step to George Pickens at this moment right now. Like, would you?
No, not right now.
First of all, he's still a rookie, right? Wait until
he starts putting on the poundage.
George Pickens is gonna be yoking people up in the secondary. Just watch.
The Colts didn't have much. They scored 17 points as a team last night. But one guy who did do all right was 7 receptions on 11 targets, 61 yards, and a touchdown is our boy Michael Pittman Jr. That's one of those guys that we've been talking about as well as a second-year dude. He's the guy now in that system, right? The number one receiver in that system. Paris Campbell's come on a little bit.
Pittman's in his third year.
I didn't say he was in his second years. He's the first. He's the guy now.
Oh, okay.
Good Lord.
Did you say he's a second-year dude?
I don't know. Maybe if you want to rewind the tape and go review the play, that's up to you. But anyway, I don't want to do that. That's fine. But anyway, Michael Pittman is the guy now over there in Indianapolis. But you've seen the emergence of a Paris Campbell. In the same breath that we talk about Pittman being up a little bit with a decent night, you almost have to talk about your guy that you were banging on this desk for.
Still banging on the desk.
Alec Pierce with. Ready for this? 0 catches on 2 targets last night. So he was forgotten. So that's somebody you want to keep your eye on, I guess, if you were in on him.
I'm going to keep
I wanted him to be the number 2 guy.
Look, if there was a chance to make money on Alec Pierce this year.
There was.
There has been. So there was a point in the year where he made a graphic on Mojo. Mojo posted a graphic on their Twitter account, top 5 rookie receivers movement for this year so far, and he came in at 5th. That was a month ago. Hasn't had a good month.
No, he
definitely has not had a good month. But the good news is that he's still seeing the field. The passing offense is really bad there right now. So it's not like you're expecting much. You're looking at George Pickens. He's on a bad passing offense, but I think it's just a different outlook and they're at least giving him looks. Pierce, he had 2 targets. It's not like he's getting the ball thrown his way a ton. There was a couple flashes earlier in the year
situation where they were
he
down.
was the only receiver Yeah, but they were down. This offense.
They had a drive on the last game. They had a chance to tie this game. They went all the way down the field. They didn't target him.
Call timeout.
Oh, Saturday's bad.
Bro.
Saturday.
Fade Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, we're talking about NFL coaches soon. Once upon a time over here on Mojo. Jeff Saturday, obviously, it's a fun experience. It's good for the fans. It's great for the kids, but it's not.
We're still going to be in on Alec Pierce.
Yeah,
it's just
sure.
You're going to have to wait a little bit. Look, he's below his entry level value right now. Right? He joined
for the first time. You said right earlier.
He entered Mojo higher than where he stands right now. So there's money to be made. Buy the dip. Buy the dip on Alec Pierce.
But also keep your eye all
just gonna have to wait until next
Jr.
season on the increase though.
Yeah,
maybe you wait till the offseason on that.
Well, I mean, it depends on the situation, really. I mean, he might have a couple more weeks where he blows up. We don't know. Yeah. One guy to note last night is a Najee Harris from last night. He went down with an injury. Before the injury, he had 10 carries on 35 yards. He went out with I believe an oblique or some kind of lat thing going on. Benny Snell comes in relief. 12 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Benny Snell, we've been talking about. You've said Benny Snell's name for the last couple of years as that supplemental fourth running back on the roster, maybe third at good times. Benny Snell, anybody you're kind of interested in? I mean, look, Najee might miss some time, and Jalen Warren by default went up, but he missed the game last night.
I'm going to start naming guys: Boston Scott, Benny Snell. Right, those two guys are the exact same person. Rashad Penny. Where these guys, we know who they are. Travis Homer.
No, Sean Vaughn. He cut it right into that Tampa.
But you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, no, I get it.
These guys are who they are. They belong on an NFL roster.
Right.
The Justice Hills of the world. They're just not starters. So do I anticipate him being anything other than a third back? He's had a crack at it with the same team for years. They've kept him around. He knows the system well. So in a spell, he'll be good. But even Najee isn't good on Pittsburgh right now. Right? What's Snell going to do?
Now that Najee's hurt, I mean, damn, man. Najee Harris has really, really disappointed a lot of people, whether it be the Mojo Market, fantasy, dynasty,
Jalen
whatever.
Warren, on the other hand, there's some boom there. There's some explosiveness there.
He was hurt yesterday.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying if Najee is out for an extended period and Jalen Warren does get back healthy, that's the guy that I'd be earmarking if there was anybody in the Pittsburgh backfield because he's a little more explosive.
Yeah. Well, that puts a bow on week number 12 as we move on to now week number 13, in which the biggest news, which you could talk about it if you have to talk about it, okay? It is around the NFL, and we're talking about the debut of Deshaun Watson. Now, look, say what you will, okay? He's had himself an interesting last couple of years. Interesting is the lightest way to put it, and I'm not about to get into detail with all that crap, but what I will say is this dude, before he left, in 2020, he finished with a 4-12 record with the Texans. He threw for 4,800 yards. He threw 33 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions and a 444 rushing yards. The guy's a superstar. We know what he's capable of doing. Now he's coming into the league with some bank value because of the fact that he's balled out at times, right? He's got a nice career number. He's actually 28-25 as a starter, despite the 4-12 season in 2020. But what I will say is this. The future projection for him is they're saying that he's going to average another $6.04 a year. So now my question to you, Chris.
Well,
what?
How?
I don't know.
604 is what he's already had, right?
He's averaging 6.4 a season, yeah.
So future.
Future. I'm sorry.
We're not sure, but it is a lot. Right?
It is
so
a
if you're
lot.
just doing some math, I'm looking at it.
He's only in his 5th year.
Now I have a hard time
with 4 years of
I have
tread.
a hard time wrapping my head around the Deshaun Watson stock price because I look at it and it prior to the whole suspension, he was sitting around like $80, $88, $90, right? It's gone down to now it's 74. So
that's a significant drop.
It's a significant drop off, but so I do think that it's one of these questions where it's like, okay, do you invest into Deshaun Watson right now? I think there is room for immediate growth very soon. But in the long-term play, I just don't see it, man. I'm looking at guys.
He does come with a 5-time multiplier if you're going long on Deshaun Watson, just so everybody's clear.
Now, what's the short?
If it's 5, then it's probably 3 on the short.
So I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the Watson's future expectations. The market just seems like it's a little high.
He got a fully guaranteed contract.
I'm looking at Josh Allen's career. He's already 27. I'm looking at Jalen Hurts' career.
Well, right now, just so everybody's aware of as far as where he is on the rankings, he's right behind Joe Burrow, and he's right in front of Lamar Jackson. So clearly, there's a reason for his price. He is that superstar quarterback. You're just thinking that the expectations and the projections are a little skewed right now.
Yeah,
because of the fact, again, you missed a whole season of football. There's a lot.
He's
to
only
digest
banked $25 in his career, right? So
and that's
it's
stat
not
driven.
that it's a little bit. That's stat driven. He's banked $25 in his career. The way I'm looking at it is that he's going to have to play like 9 or 10 more successful seasons to achieve what they think he's going to, considering, right?
Yeah, so if you round it up to $50, right, and he's averaging 6, then yeah, so 4 or 5 good seasons.
There is room for growth, I think, soon because, he did miss a good portion of this year, so he can't bank any of the games that he's missed. So, relatively speaking, if he gets, I think there is a room for like a 4 or 5% growth, maybe even over the course of the rest of this year. But then after this year, I think when you're reassessing things, I think that long term, that future value it's going to be hard to achieve that because you have a decade, and this is the Browns, man. Like they chew you up.
Browns
and
is
spit
the
you
Browns.
out. They chew you up and spit you out in Cleveland, and the quarterback. I haven't seen a quarterback succeed there ever, literally ever in my entire life.
Put some respect on Baker Mayfield's name. I couldn't even say it with a straight
Tim
face.
Couch, like we had the jersey is the big joke about. There's like a running joke of all the.
Ty Detmer, once upon a time.
You want to start going through Tim Couch? We could start. We
Oh,
could start
we could be here
Johnny
for-
Manziel, right?
Money Manziel, bro. Would have been perfect for the market.
Oh,
In fact, you should probably invest, Johnny. Try to make some of that money back you lost.
I think the reason why I have a hard time even talking about Deshaun Watson is because I do think there is money to be made on the immediate. I just long term. I just don't. I do not see.
Fine. What about the guys around him? Yeah. You've seen some good numbers out of Amari Cooper so far, and that's what Jacoby Brissett through 11, 12 games, right? Or 11 games.
I'm actually going to pull up all the Browns.
Right now, I'll tell you right now, Cooper, Chubb, and Njoku, they haven't moved much since the announcement of the return of Deshaun Watson. And when I say much, they haven't done anything. They haven't moved.
Well,
so
how about this? Deshaun Watson's actually down.
I saw that.
Over the course of the week.
I did see that. Now, I think that you make the move as Cleveland to get an Amari Cooper because you know you're going to put a quarterback in place that can get him the ball. Peoples-Jones has kind of emerged as the number 2 down there, right? And then you have guys. I mean, the running game itself is great, bro. Great. I know Kareem Hunt's probably on his way out, but for the rest of this year, you're going to have a mobile, very mobile Deshaun Watson, a Nick Chubb, and a Kareem Hunt. That running game, I think, gets a significant. I'm not saying the market's dictating it right now, but I'm saying they will.
I would say that it's hard for me to say that a Cooper and a Nick Chubb are going to see an uptick in value because they're already pretty valuable, right? They're having really good seasons without Deshaun Watson. So I would say there's more of a chance that, not with Cooper. I think Cooper's going to definitely maintain, but if anything, there's a chance that the offense runs a little bit different now. And Nick Chubb,
RPOs and stuff.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I would say I don't know if they're going to design many runs for Watson, but I think they're going to design some. I think they're going to design some passes for him. So if they're going to design passes for him, conversely, you would expect that Nick Chubb's probably going to see a little bit less handoffs.
I don't think he's going to come out the gate slinging. I just don't see it. Well, maybe he does. Maybe the first play of the game, when whoever's doing the game as far as the broadcast team, maybe it's a play action pass and he hits Cooper or Peoples-Jones on a deep ball, and people are like, "Well, there he is. Look, superstar's back." You know what I mean?
We've been talking about Deshaun Watson for the better part of a year and a half without getting, maybe 2 years without getting to see him play. Since the inception of Chop Sports, the Mojo Market, we've been talking about Deshaun Watson waiting for an NFL game.
We actually haven't got to see him play.
Not once.
Not once as a business.
Not once.
Dude, how crazy is that?
He demanded a trade the day
Some
after
of the most controversial clips we've ever posted on our social media.
We got into such a fight.
We were ready to
Watson.
choke each other out. Like, this was, it's a bad, look, again, Deshaun Watson, everybody knows what happened.
Choke me out?
Huh?
You want to choke me out?
I mean, here we go. So now he's going to start doing push-ups in the corridor, getting stretched and ready to go. But look, Deshaun Watson, we all know what he's done or didn't do or whatever the case may be. He was headlines, right? He's finally going to play. If you're looking at him on the surface, I would say invest some money in him. He's a superstar. Look, can he right the wrongs and like make everybody forget about it? I'm sure he could. But
He's a football player.
He's a
That's
football
what they
player.
do.
after all.
That's what happens in the
I mean,
NFL.
look, if there's any league in the world or any sport in the world that lets you come back after doing such damning things, it's the NFL. So nothing cures you more than to just go out there and ball. So speaking of ball, there won't be much ball played, according to me and Chris. We're in agreement here. Matt Stafford might have seen his last downs of 2022. It's alarming because the entire Rams organization is going down. Cooper Kupp on IR. Allen Robinson's now out for the year. I know it doesn't matter about the defensive side of the ball, but all of a sudden, Aaron Donald is out for 6 weeks with a high ankle or whatever. Matt Stafford misses last week because of the concussion. Is it time to make money the other way and short Matt Stafford going forward?
Yeah, I was in on that anyway.
I think we've talked about this before, but now it's like more apparent.
Matthew Stafford anyway, but now I don't like to predict things like this, but since this is what we're doing here, I don't want to say I don't think Matthew Stafford ever plays football again, but I think if there is one player, knowing what I know about his off the field, his family, his wife had an illness last year or 2 years ago. He has a concussion right now. He's been dealing with nagging chronic injuries. You read a new thing about his elbow, his back. Stafford it's well documented how tough he's been throughout his career, playing through a ton of injuries.
And he's played for some bad teams in Detroit.
He got his Super Bowl ring. As I'm looking at the roster in LA right now, a lot of guys signed up to try and run it back, and they really dumped a ton of money, front heavy. They have no draft capital over the next couple of years.
Zero.
And not only that, there's probably going to be a ton of players that are playing for other teams that are on the Rams' payroll with these signing bonuses that they were front-ending to alleviate cap space and things like that to get that Super Bowl championship. So I think that the Rams are going to be a bad football team for the next couple of years. I don't know that Matthew Stafford wants to play quarterback behind that offensive line.
He did that already.
He did it.
His entire career. No, I'm talking about the Rams. Talking about the Detroit Lions.
And honestly,
he did that already.
And this year. And he did it this year. And look where he ended up, a concussion. I think that when he sits down with his family after in the offseason, he looks back at things and he says, look, I have nothing to hang my hat on. I'm very proud of my career. I got a Super Bowl ring. I'm rich. I'm going to call it a day. That's what my prediction is. I think Matthew Stafford may never take another snap. And I don't want that to be like, he's saying no, maybe.
Look, given the situation that he's in right now, it's not that bold of a prediction. It really isn't. Because, again, concussions, nagging injuries.
I did call Melvin Gordon to the Chiefs, by the way.
I had that written in my open, and I breezed right by it. But anyway, it's time to short Matt Stafford because I think his market projections, his future, I mean, they're still banking on $10 more in his future. I don't see it. I don't see it. And multipliers aside, it just might be time. He's got a 10 times short multiplier right now. 10 times, bro. So that's
and look,
yikes.
If it's a 10 times short multiplier, I'm gonna look. I'm just gonna do some math real quick.
Because all I know is
carry us for a second, Dave.
Yeah, no, I'm just all I'm saying is a 10 times short multiplier is another way to make money on the Mojo Market. And again, you don't want to root for the guy and never play the game again. But
so essentially, right now, if what I just said is true, or prediction comes true. He's at 81.39 banked, 1032 future. The future gets wiped. He's banked at the 81.32. If you multiply Stafford right now on a 10-time multiplier, he's going to lose over 10% of his share price right away. So it's like you're going to make over 100% of your returns if Stafford did retire on a short.
Interesting. It's an interesting play, man. Again, you don't root for the guy to stop playing football, but when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, and
I'll tell you what, if you short Matthew Stafford and you use your 10-time multiplier on that short, you were 100% rooting for him to stop playing football.
We hope you go on a vacation and just hang out with your family, Matt. Get well soon, pal.
And look, we're not. That's not a bad thing. It's like
I mean,
congrats, bro. Yeah. Great career.
House, rich, beautiful wife. You're good to go.
Can I get this 115% return though?
Yes, please. Can you?
Just saying.
I appreciate you.
Just saying, bud.
One more thing to talk about before we get out of here. It was announced yesterday, I believe, by Mr. Shanahan that Elijah Mitchell's going to miss. What was it?
6 to 8.
6 to 8 weeks. He's already down 4%. Now, the reason why we bring him up is because, again, you got to prepare your portfolio for week 13, right? Are you in on a guy like CMC now because of the fact that, look, if you're in on CMC before this, it's because you think that CMC is one of the better players in football. But now you take away the threat again. Because remember, when CMC first got there, Mitchell wasn't in the conversation. It was only about 2 weeks, 3 weeks in where Mitchell was like, oh, by the way, I'm off the IR. And here I come. And here I'm going to cut right into your carries. So now are you like, oh, those carries are going to CMC, or are we now going to get a Debo in the backfield again? The Niners are dangerous, man, no matter how you cut it, even with or without this guy.
Confused with the CMC usage a little bit. I mean, I guess Elijah Mitchell his presence did cloud things. I think
it cut into his carry significantly.
I don't think that I don't think they're even now going to use McCaffrey to carry the ball 20+ times. He's just not going to be the guy. They have, who's their backup now?
They traded for Chase Edmonds.
Did they?
Not Chase Edmonds. Who's the other kid from Miami? They swapped in the trade. They swapped. What's this guy? Jeff Wilson Jr. went to San Francisco. Went to Miami. Miami sent one of their guys over there. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I know that Miami sent one of their guys over to San Fran to be the backup of the backup. So it is what it is.
I was hoping that I looked right. He was going to have the name for me.
Who, Ant?
Yeah. I was like, nope, no good. All right, so I think Debo is the one that gets, if anything, he's going to be the guy that gets more carries. Because last year when Elijah Mitchell went out down the stretch, it was Debo, all Debo. In between the tackles, it's going to be Debo this year.
Yeah, right now it's Jordan Mason as the second guy behind Christian McCaffrey, and then Tyron Davis-Price.
That's who I was thinking of. So they didn't make. Yeah, I think.
Did I just say Tyron Davis-Price? It's definitely
Tyrion Davis-Price.
Him too.
Tyron
Jesus
Davis.
Christ. Anyway, so for me, it's the uptick will go
to Debo.
Yeah, I was going to say I think Debo's going to get more of a. I know he kind of came hobbled last week. Right off at the end of the game, he's a little questionable now. But again, Debo pulls a quad or a hamstring every
week. 13 in the NFL. Everybody's
hurt. Everybody. It should be the Bill Belichick rule where everybody has to be put on the injury report because everybody's hurt at this point because they've been weathering the storm of the entire long season. So anyway, that we had to touch on that just because again. It was interesting to see who gets the volume over there in San Francisco. I was going to touch on in the beginning, and I'll wrap it up with this. The signing of Melvin Gordon to the practice squad, apparently. That's all he's getting. He'll get called up immediately once he's acclimated. Is this going to really hurt our boy from Rutgers, Pacheco, a little bit? I know Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's on the IR, so he's done and out of the picture right now, but like, does Melvin Gordon actually cut into the opportunities for Isaiah Pacheco?
He better. Yeah, 100%. If the Chiefs are smart, which they are, that's why they brought him in. When you have Melvin Gordon on your roster and it's an important playoff game, we want to talk about he has fumbling issues. He does not. He had fumbling issues this year. This guy's had a long.
Did you see that fake tweet that was put out there? I believe it was within Chop Sports, but like Melvin Gordon was like, "I'm so glad I'm out of Denver because they that Russ Wilson wouldn't let us work out to anything outside of Will Smith albums, and it wasn't even Big Willie style. It was Millennium."
I did see that tweet, but look, Melvin Gordon is.
And I hope it's real.
He's a goal line back.
Yeah.
He's a guy that. Perfect playoff back, honestly. You're able to add Melvin Gordon to your roster post trade deadline.
I'm in, yeah,
in a playoff push,
and give up zero capital for it. It's perfect.
I don't think they're expecting him to be the guy of the future, but
still Melvin Gordon.
If the future is the next couple months, then he's the guy of the future.
Yeah,
at least in the goal line situation.
So maybe sprinkle a little bit on Melvin Gordon, but do it responsibly. And what you also do is follow Mojo on social media right now. Head on over to Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. At Mojo, and of course, join the Discord. That is a fun conversation to be had every single day. It's discord.com/Mojo. Again, it's just a conversation that keeps on going. There's like 15 subcategories. Go long, go short, show your portfolio, questions, suggestions. There's like a suggestion box where you can be like, I think Mojo should do this. And Mojo is still, relatively new, entering more states, entering more sports, by the way. I can't wait for basketball at this point. Like, you don't understand. I am itching right now.
I just put.
You know why? You know why I'm itching? You know why I'm itching most?
You up.
Because I'm a Knicks fan, and because we stink, it's nice to say that I can possibly invest some money into good players outside of the Knicks, like my boy John Morant, like guys like that. Who you said Anthony Davis is actually having a year?
Anthony Davis is the best player ever,
which is nuts considering
Suddenly,
the guy. Did you see him slip?
He'll be hurt by the end of the month.
Did you see him slip trying to pick up LeBron?
Yeah,
that was a very dangerous.
Yeah,
thing.
I think he finished with like 38 and 18 that game.
So basketball coming soon to the Mojo Market.
The Lakers lost that was a tough one yesterday.
I hate the Lakers, but I mean, I don't hate the Lakers. I'm not pro LeBron. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jordan was the GOAT. Everybody knows that.
Oh, God. That's not what we're doing here.
So follow us on the social medias, like I said already. For Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci, this has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. Enjoy your Tuesday. We'll be back here tomorrow morning on a midweek show. And, of course, Week 13 is here. So we're right around the corner. We'll see you guys tomorrow.